the Porsche 917K, as seen in Steve McQueen's Le Mans movie, is here on site and is going to be crossing the block at Mecum, Kissimmee in January. And I'm joined by Gianni. He has been the caretaker and historian.
Thank you for having me. So it's a wonderful car to have here, and excited that you guys are going to auction it off.
Well, let's go inside
Sure.
the box and show me some of the specific high points on this historical vehicle.
It's in the famous Golf blue and orange livery, the number 20. And this is chassis 917-022, which was specifically the chassis that Steve McQueen purchased from Porsche. This car has some very unique features that are not seen on other 917s, like camera mounts. So if you lift that front lid, there's a camera mount in the front. There are some exposed camera mounts here in the side. We also have this split line here where they have a removable roof section that you could remove the roll bar and have more camera mounts, and we discovered those during the restoration. After they finished the movie, this was his, and he personally owned this car through his production company, Solar Productions. He obviously wanted to pay homage to it because he drove this extensively during the making of the movie. So he wrote here, "Finished, thanks for staying together," and signed it. And the cool part about that is in its first race in 1971, there are period photos where it's still in a Golf orange and blue livery, and you can see this on the side door. So when Willi Kausen and Reinhold Jost owned the car and they were going to be racing it, their first race, it showed this this signature and handwriting on it. So we wanted to drive that point home that this is the movie car and the car that Steve McQueen owned, and this is a feature that he personally signed on the door. The button here for the door entry is just a Volkswagen bus engine lid release. And like on the back, in order to latch down the rear deck lid, you've got these Geezy ski bindings. And so there are a lot of things that they did back in the day. I mean, even Fiat taillights. So they were doing things as cost-cutting measures and stuff that they had laying around, and those engineers, instead of re-engineering it, somebody already did that engineering and they could just bolt it up. The car is required by the FIA in that time period. In order to qualify for Le Mans, they needed to have basically a full road-going vehicle. So headlights, taillights. There's a big empty pocket here in the rear tail section that you could put luggage in if you wanted to, you know.
Gianni, fill me in on the power plant. We can see it from here. What is it and what are the specs?
So this is a flat 12 engine, so it's horizontally opposed. It was born as a 4.5 liter. Now it's a little bumped up to a 4.6, 515 horsepower at the crank. So it's producing a lot of horsepower, and it's naturally aspirated. So when you get on the power all the way to red line, it makes great noises. Obviously, Steve McQueen purchased it from Porsche for the making of the movie. Then it ran in the 71 season, was acquired by Brian Redman, another famous Porsche driver, who then sold it to Richard Atwood. And Richard Atwood is famous for winning the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1970 in the Salzburg livery car. So he ran this car, campaigned it in historic racing, eventually converted it to the Salzburg livery to pay homage to him winning the race. Then it was reverted back to the Golf livery before he sold it. Passed through the hands of Frank Gallegly, was then owned by Jerry Seinfeld for the last 23 years, who took care of this and commissioned the restoration to accurately depict the way that it ran and making of the movie Le Mans. So full circle, and known ownership history and known records of where it's been, and no crazy major accidents or anything like that. This is the real deal car, from the chassis to the body and everything like that. 917s are famous and historically significant for multiple things, but they were one of the most successful cars that Porsche ever had. It was the car that won them their first 24-hour win overall at Le Mans. I look at this as like, this is the race car we all remember, and, you know, playing with Hot Wheels or whatever. So this has gone down in history as the epitome of what we think a race car is, and as one of the most famous race cars of all time, and in this livery. So you've got a lot of things working for it.
Well, thank you, Gianni, for the walk around. This has been incredible to be this up close to it. It is going to be an incredible journey as we get closer to Mecum Kissimmee 2025.